WFOV.
Why can't we?
Flint, Michigan.
Why not?
Our voices.
Our voices.
WFOV.
What would happen if we...
WFOV.
How many times have I said...
I've got the solution.
Not everybody's bad.
Why can't we work together?
WFOV.
Our voices.
Our voices.
WFOV. You know what the problem is?
I heard a guy on the radio.
There's other
Our
communities.
voices. I like to hear it.
WFOV.
I heard
WFOV.
WFOV.
Our voices.
259-978 Flint's newest radio stations. Located right here in Flint, Michigan. The
Our
Good
voices.
News Radio. If you're interested in getting involved, having your own show, or just supporting the station, give us a call at 259-9789. That's 259-9789. It's Our Voices. Located right here in Flint, Michigan. The Good News Radio. If you're interested in getting involved, having your own show, or just supporting the station, give us a call at 259-9789.
Yeah, today we're sitting here with the man who made that possible, Paul Herring. This is John from All Points, and we're sitting down with Paul Herring. So, yeah, that's I'm kind of geeked up when I saw that you actually announced that the other day. This is going to be launched officially in July and you're already trying things out now, right?
Yeah, we're in test mode, have been for the last maybe 15 or 16 days.
Right.
Trying to learn the software, learn the broadcasting. You know, I'm a TV guy by trade, and the radio is a little new to me, but I'm loving every minute of it.
Yeah, and it's like I'm really geeked up about it because I think it's something that's long overdue in this area. I mean, it's like we're all into this kind of same stuff. I mean, we're all trying to get the word out, things are going on in Flint, make it more aware, and we're trying to control. Give people more information than what's coming out of here by the standard route from the media, especially about the water crisis and stuff like that. I mean, it can look kind of dire, and from that perspective. So,
well, anything. I mean, we are a not-for-profit radio station, so that means we can dedicate time to things that the networks can't. They've got to make money, and they've got to do this, and they've got to do that. Where we're a public access radio station, so all we've got to do is provide time to the people who want it.
Now that's like Comcast used to have a ability to actually have a studio here, but that's been withdrawn several years ago, and that's how I think I got in contact with you actually the first time as we met up doing that stuff. So I mean that's got to be 8 or 9 years ago now, though.
Easy.
Yeah. So anyway, and you've been out there. I mean, everything that's like on Channel 17. You have a lot of. How many shows do you produce that are on Channel 17?
I claim about 14 of them.
Wow.
12 of them. Yeah.
Yeah, that's quite a bit. I mean, that's quite a solid core of that programming on there.
I agree. I mean, I consider myself taking over public access when Comcast abandoned it. It was just out there dangling, and there was no rhyme nor reason to it. And I had a corral of, or should I say a stable of people that wanted to produce, but didn't want to go to Southfield to do it, didn't want to have to lug their programming down to Southfield. So we kind of united, and we worked together. And within my stable, we're able to accomplish all of that.
Yeah, then you do a great job. I've seen a lot of your stuff, and I mean, I've always...
Oh, I do a bad job sometimes, too, but...
Yeah. But it's, a lot of times, too, it's like, you and I are in the same boat in a lot of ways, and we'd like to expand our operation, get the money to get more people out there to cover more events, but let's face it, you and I are dedicated to it, but a lot of people, let's face it, they require money to do it, and it's simply hard to ask for a lot of times. These are circumstances here are so dire at times financially that, I feel... that asking money for something like that would be kind of a serious burden for people.
Well, here's the big difference about me asking people to work for free, is I'm working for free too.
Yeah.
It's different when somebody making $60, $70, $80, $120,000 asks you to do something for free. That's not acceptable in my book. But if I'm volunteering and you're volunteering, we're kind of on the same page. And I mean, the goal with the radio station is to generate some grant dollars so that we can do some training programs. We'd like to teach kids how to cover the school plays. We'd like to get some guys announcing sporting events from the high school level, even intramural, maybe soccer. The possibilities are endless with this public access radio station because it's our voices. So it's like whatever you're doing. If you're having a picnic or a party, if you're doing something at your church or your organization, the Masons, WFOV wants to be the voice that lets the community know. We want people to know that they can turn to WFOV for their government meetings. Channel 25, other radio stations can't dedicate 4 hours to a council meeting. We can. They can't dedicate 3 hours to a county commission meeting. We can. They can't dedicate 2 hours to an RTAB meeting. We can. So I'm hoping that in honor of or in memory of the old WFUM, back in the day when I first moved here to Flint, they used to play and broadcast the council meetings, and I thought it was brilliant. And so I just want to mimic their brilliance and bring that kind of stuff back to the airwaves here in Flint.
Yeah, that was the. I worked at U of M, and the organization I worked under, Learning Resources Center. They worked initially underneath the auspices of Channel 28, and I remember the fundraisers. We used to, they would call us and help for their fundraisers, their telethons and stuff like that. But and then when that disappeared, the U of M let that go. They built a new building. They didn't have the money to go fully digital. And FCC rulings said you have to go digital and stuff, so they didn't have the money to do that, and they didn't see it. They didn't. I don't think. I
don't quite believe that they didn't have the money. They didn't see the value.
They didn't see the value. That's exactly where I was going to go with that. They didn't see the value, and they had They had a great producer over there for years there that they just one of the first people they let go when they made that transition. So to me, that kind of signaled that they weren't really serious because they didn't let. He had won Emmys for his production stuff and been nominated for several more. So I mean, he was pretty good at this. So. When he let him go, he was one of the first people go. I knew that they weren't serious about keeping it, and that's a disservice to the area. Because another thing is too, it's one of the offerings I think a university could offer their students is, the ability to be, to be for broadcast journalism, especially. But they certainly just abandoned that. So
well, as quiet as the captain Little said about it, John, my ultimate goal is to create a media center. Through the auspices of Flint Odyssey House, I was about to apply for this low power radio station on my own, and I contacted Flint Odyssey House to see if they would be the fiduciary for me. And during that conversation, they said they were applying as well. So I told them, well, there's no need for both of us to apply. I'll just, wait till you get it and be a part of it. I don't need this. And they agreed, and I dropped it. And probably about 3 months later, they called me and told me that their guy dropped it and asked me if I would pick it back up and try to salvage it, and I did. And now we're here with the station.
I respect you because you have to deal with the federal government for this FCC licensing procedure and stuff for low range. What was it called? Low power, limited range FM.
Yep, low power FM radio station, and it really wasn't that difficult. It really wasn't. I had a little apprehension as to dealing with federal regulations and all that, but I found that with the low power FM radio station, there's a lot of FCC regulations that don't apply to us. And also as far as like reporting, we don't have to report to the arbitrons and all that kind of stuff. We don't have to report to ASCAP or BMI. We do have to have licensing through them. But it's at such a reduced rate compared to the commercial stations that it's affordable.
Yes, and another thing that brings up, there's so much talent here. I mean, not only we have the the ongoing political things and the governmental things, and you also have a lot of talent pool, and that's what I'm hoping to hear from too. Is like all the variety of stuff we have. We got an upcoming bluegrass festival, and we also have rap and hip hop artists around here. We have rhythm and blues players, we have jazz players. I mean, we have a lot of people just with a lot of talent sitting right here.
Yeah, right now we're planning on Flint Fridays, and hopefully every Friday the radio station is just going to play Flint artists as soon as I can get some. The problem with Flint folks is they just don't have enough sense to make clean material. These guys are cussing and calling mamas this and girls that, and we got to step away from that. I figure, you can have a dirty or explicit version, right? But if you don't have a clean version of your song, you're trying to stay in the ghetto. You're not trying to make it out of here because that's not going to get any airplay anywhere else, and it's not going to help you.
Right.
You know what I mean? You got to be ready for what's ready for you. And if I call you and say, hey, I need 3 songs for a radio show tomorrow night, and you have to tell me you don't have any clean songs, then I'm calling the next guy.
Right. And it's unfortunate. I mean, it's like that way they don't get the exposure. I mean, I'm a First Amendment person. I think you pretty much should say stuff that's, probably shocking some people's ears because you don't know what's going to shock people. You don't know what kind of gauge that to take with that. But I mean, let's face it, you got to deal with the FCC. They have existed for God knows how many years, and that's just the reality. And there's some purpose for it. I mean, I'm not a total anarchist.
I'm down with the FCC I'm down with the First Amendment according to the FCC.
Right. And it's like, and I guess, you have to address the idea that maybe you can still say what you want to say without being so inflammatory or so vulgar, I guess.
Oh,
or
you
so
certainly can.
Obscenity filled, you know.
There's plenty of adjectives and adverbs out in the world, and you don't have to use any four-letter words. I mean, one, it takes a little more creativity to not. I like the shock value of cursing. I cuss all the time.
Yeah, but just try
But
to.
there's a time and place.
That's
There's a time and place, and the radio isn't the place nor the time.
I'm a potty mouth. You can ask anybody that's around me, but when I get on the radio or get doing these kind of shows, I try to limit that because I mean,
Try to.
you know, seriously.
Well, you're internet, so you got a lot more freedoms than I have as a broadcast radio station.
But I still want to come across as a foul-mouthed jerk, though. I mean, and so I do put limitations myself because I say, you know, that's going to shock. You don't know who's going to be listening. You know, they might be taking you and actually listen to you and actually you might have a great deal of credibility, and then when you start going off with the obscenities, you just might lose your audience. So, I mean, that's a thing I kind of want to eliminate. I want to be heard. So. Yeah.
It turns off a lot of people. It turns on some, but I think you turn off more than you turn on when you're just constantly at it. If it serves a purpose, if it really punctuates a point, I love it.
Right.
But if it's not necessary and could be replaced by neighbor or comrade or brother or sister, don't use it.
I believe that too.
You got to play to your audience. That's what they always taught me in public speaking. Is you look out your audience or know your audience. You know what I mean? And if you're going to a church conference, you better leave that stuff at home.
Yeah. You don't want to shock the old ladies there at the church conference.
No, not at all. Not at all. Not if you want to be invited back.
Now, I think that this is really a good thing for Flint, and we got on the screen here scrolling, you know, your name, but you know, Spectacle Productions plus the Wfov 92.1 FM. But we also have a number you can call to contact you. That's different from your own production company's number, right?
Right. We got two things going on. Of course, Spectacle Productions, which is the public access arm. We produce the programming on Channel 17 as best we can. We also produce the community calendar on 17, although we're thwarted by the Comcast-produced community calendar. We're competing with an organization that puts up a screen that says they can't control the content of the screen, and then the minute the screen goes off, they put up a television program that they produce down in Southfield that we haven't asked for. So, go figure. But, yeah, Spectacle is separate from WFOV, other than being housed in the same facility.
Right.
So the 259-9789 is directly to the radio station. And I mean, anyone within the sound of my voice that's talented, that does music or any type of entertainment, really. I'd like monologues. What I'd really like to get into is the Moth radio style storytelling. I'd like people to just, you know, everybody's got a story, whether it's their first birthday, how they fell in love, a prom story, a knee break, or there's all sorts of stories out there. And I'm encouraging people to contact me because I'd like to dedicate some time to getting those stories out, especially our seniors. You know, the older you are, the more I want to hear from you.
Right, the oral histories and the recollections, the stuff that might bore their family. It's not
going to bore us.
No, that's exactly
right.
What
The family is tired of hearing it, and you can't tell the grandkids anymore, and Lord knows your son doesn't want to hear it. But I do. I want to hear about what was going on in Flint in the 40s and the 30s, and, you know, I do.
Yeah,
I don't know. That would make you 120 years old, though, wouldn't it?
Yeah, but you know, I grew up hearing so many stories. I feel like I have that kind of experience to draw from. And, you know, Flint is a rich city. I mean, rich in heritage, rich in culture, rich in the history. And
rich in knuckleheads. We got a lot of knuckleheads here in Flint.
But that's history, though. I mean, that's like let's face it, these guys we study in history books aren't. Guess what? There weren't people we'd want as dinner guests. A lot of them. I mean, could you imagine sitting down with Genghis Khan or those other barbarian types of people? No, they wouldn't be all that pleasant to deal with.
Right.
But no, another thing is too, though. We're getting back to what what you want to see is the coming in. How would people would you encourage them to send you tapes maybe, or that are broadcast quality, or what? We'll go over the formats you prefer. Whatever.
Well, here's what we're doing right now. We're in CD mode. Okay. So people that are interested in programming on Channel 17, WFOV 92.1 FM, need to get us a CD. I need a sample CD. I'd prefer it to be set up as their show. A half-hour show contains 28 minutes. Mm-hmm. An hour show is 56.
Right.
And you do it just like you would at the board. You play music, you do your segues, whatever your program contains, you do that and you provide it. And then you give me a copy of it, we listen to it, and we either give you a green light or a critique as to what needs to be changed or fixed or tweaked. We're not going to tell you what the content is, but we'll tell you technically what you need to do to get your volumes up, get your bass out, get your treble out. And then once we approve that pilot, we need you to come with 4 shows ready to go, and we'll set you up with a time slot.
See, that's going to the time slot too, and you want to keep that consistent. They give you 4. You obviously are going to have several in the queue waiting for the next week to be played. But you also, I would recommend, I'm doing this too for Comcast. You try to keep more coming in and have them also ready in queue, so you always have continuous supply of new material.
Well, even that is up to the producer. If you want stale stuff rerunning on your show, I'm not going to tell you no until it gets to like the 10th rerun.
Yeah.
And then we're going to pull your show because you're not a show anymore.
Yeah, because you're not taking interest in it. That's what they showed me anyway.
Right.
But anyway, we got like the scrolling banner here, and also people can reach you on. I'll provide the link to your Facebook page when I title this when it goes up to YouTube as well.
Sure.
But I'm definitely looking forward to working with you because I've always thought you were doing great stuff, and we didn't start this to be in competition. It was Flint Talk and then All Points. We never started this as a competition. We're doing it totally on the internet, and now we can flood the airways of all forms of media. We can do the internet. We can do the local AM and FM studio like you have set up already, as well as Comcast. So
well, we just need to partner, man. You stream my stuff, I'll stream your stuff.
That's exactly what I'm hoping to do, and I think that we're always independent, but we're always here to support each other because we're all in this together. That sounds like a cliche, but our experience has been. You said you moved in. Now that's another story too. You moved from another place into Flint. So many years. How many years ago was that?
Oh God, man, it's the 70s.
Yeah.
I moved into Grand Blanc in 79.
Okay.
79. Did my last 2 years of school there. Graduated in 81.
Okay.
And started working in Flint my senior year at Shapiro's Market. God bless Irv and Eddie Shapiro. Love you guys. They were some of the best bosses I ever had. They taught me so much without teaching me anything.
Now that was an established grocery store in the downtown that I hated to see close up. But
it was fabulous. It felt like family the minute you walked in the door, and it had an old family history. That store had been around for 70, 80 years, because it went from his dad to his grandpa to his dad to the 2 brothers that I started working for.
Yeah, that's like, and my family, my dad's family's been here for, since before the Civil War in this area, and so we've been here a long time. And downtown was like totally different than it is now, and it's got good things now. But when I was a kid, going downtown was something significant. It was, parking was a problem, but God, once you got down there and parked, you had a lot to go to do. You had a lot going on there. And you remember that?
Well, I came in on the tail end of that. In the 70s, they were just tearing up the bricks on Saginaw Street. They had turned Saginaw Street into a parking lot.
Yeah, I remember
where
that.
you get parking in the middle of the street. And they were just changing that out when I came downtown. And the bus station there was no bus station. They were parking, or was that garage the bus station? They were parking around Harrison Street and Garland Street.
Right.
Just parking out on the street. Uncle Bob's Diner was on Harrison Street. The Capitol Theater was actually still showing karate movies on Saturdays.
Yeah, I remember going down, like $5, you got to see 2 or 3 Chopsaki flips.
20 karate movies for $5.
Yeah, it went back to back. Then you get out there and you see everybody going there trying the moves out there in the street. Exactly. I remember that really well. I was right out of high school and I started going down there myself, and I heard about it, and I was into martial arts back then, and it was crazy down. It was a fun time though. It was just a different era.
Well, they're gonna bring it back.
Really?
They're gonna bring it back. Yeah, they got money. They got grant money, and they just came and asked for a tax transfer.
Okay.
So that they're tax exempt for 12 years or something like that, and the council approved it. So the Whiting is going to be managing it, and the Uptown Development Corporation or Foundation is going to be doing the construction and remodeling on it. So within 2 years, we'll be back at the Capitol, hopefully. Not necessarily watching Bruce Lee films, but something a little more up to par.
And I don't remember this, if you remember this group when I was out in the 80s, but it was a group called Art in America.
No.
And they came. They had a harp in the band, and I always thought that was unique. And I always had a respect, and they were from Michigan. I knew that. And just 2 or 3 years ago, I actually got 2 of the members there, the brothers and sister that were in that group, come up here for an interview. And they said they played the Capitol Theater, and they vowed to their fans that they'd come back and play again. That was 30-some years ago, and that's still their ambition, is actually to fulfill that promise. So maybe that was something we could help them work out.
Oh man, they could have came back. We could have put them under the awning.
Yes.
They could have been up front. They didn't have to be in the building.
Well, I can always bring them. Hey, I got their phone number. I can always call these people and see if they want to, reunite for at least one time.
Yeah. Do it on the steps.
They just came out with a CD a few years ago. Like, I got a copy of it. They're still good. I mean,
Is it headbanger stuff?
Oh,
Is that
it's very,
Take No Prisoner stuff?
It's very mild. Actually, it's very mild.
Okay.
I don't know how to classify it. I mean, it's like it's kind of like I said, it's got a harp, so you don't expect to be too edgy. It's a harp player.
I don't know. Is it electric harp?
No, not electric. It's a basic harp. She plays like a concert harp, So
Okay.
if they play at these big venues like the Whiting would,
Okay.
But anyway, but to get back to this though, WFOV. I mean, this is exciting. I mean, it's like people can actually hear stuff that's like produced by themselves. They can actually, or their family members or friends, and I think that's kind of cool. I mean. Yeah, some of it might be hokey to somebody's standards, but you never know where this is going to go.
Well, I figured that there are a lot of home producers here in Flint. Mm-hmm. Via the public access business that I have, I do get calls on occasion from these guys that are producing in their basements. And like I said, the minute I asked them if they have anything clean, they say, I can make something clean. I said, great, make something clean, and they put it in my mailbox, and I listen to it, and it ain't clean. Their concept of clean is not my concept of clean.
That's different generations of
Yeah. I don't accept the N-word in any way, shape, or form. I just think it's a vulgarity.
Right.
Okay, and then it's like a comma to most people.
Yeah, it's like I think it's I just don't think it's needed. I don't really think it's needed. I mean, I don't want to hear it myself. So I mean, and I'm a person. It's not easy to offend. I mean,
dude, there's a time and a place. There's a time and a place for everything. And I guess the Shapiro's brothers taught me. They said you praise in public and you punish in private.
That's a good way of doing things. That's a great way of doing things.
And I've taken that motto and I've embraced it and I've used it, and that includes your music.
Yeah.
Don't punish me.
Yeah, it's like another thing is like I'm sitting down, sitting in the car or going around. I hear somebody's music when they go by in their car, and it's like it's so loud and so obnoxious. I mean, I don't know how they can sit there and listen to some of this music. It was so loud that I think you'd walk out and your ears would be bleeding because they just ruptured your eardrums and did internal damage.
It gets worse, and then you see the 2 car seats in the back seat.
All right.
And there's 2 babies, infant and a 3-year-old. And the lyrics are just vulgar, and at decibels that are deafening, and to an adult, let alone a child.
Because let's face it,
let alone a child. And I don't know if they're not thinking, or if they just don't care. I'm gonna lean towards the not thinking. If it sounds good to me, it must sound good to the babies, and vibrating those bones must be a good thing, but it isn't. It isn't.
And you got kids yourself, so I mean,
I do.
Yeah. So anyway, then now that's a good thing too. You're in Expo. I mean, they're probably working with you on your production group, and now they're probably going to be connected to the radio, right?
Well, I have an amazing story. I've got Paul Jr. He's at State, and he went for engineering.
Okay.
And 2 years in, he changed his mind and decided to go into communications and broadcasting.
You're saying now you have a background in that yourself, don't you?
Communications and broadcasting?
Yeah, I didn't know you went to Mott, didn't you, for a while?
I went to Mott before Mott had a camera, a microphone, or anything.
Okay.
They didn't have Jack Dilley. They did have a filmmaking class that I took with Paul.
Chappell?
Was it Paul Chappell?
Paul Chappell, yeah.
Yeah, Paul Chappell's class.
Because I worked with at U of M, and I was one of the Geek Squad. But before
Nice.
the Geek Squad, I used to deliver all the equipment set up in classrooms,
Okay.
the projectors, I avoided that in high school, but they paid me for it in college, so I did that. And
Paul happened to be a good friend of Ed Shapiro,
Okay.
who I was working for at Shapiro's, and that's how I got turned on to him and the film class, and I had a ball with it.
yeah, he was a great instructor. He was a very likable guy. I remember Paul. I mean, and I also worked with quite a few guys up there. Like in Learning Resource, we had a guy who he did all their in-house production stuff. His name was Dave Goldsmith. And so I don't know. He ran their studio for right up till he retired a few years ago, and so there were some great people right there. I mean, and I learned a lot from them people too. Not that I just delivered equipment, but I mean, their attitude and their approach to life did kind of, I learned a lot from them, and they were so, and that's kind of that's a good thing too. This kind of stuff's giving you a chance to actually influence the next generation, and I know you're a family man. I know that really appeals to you. So
That's what my girlfriend tells my wife.
he breaks the scandal on here. Now, would that be permitted?
I'm going to get in a lot of trouble for that.
Well,
but then I guess we'll see how many people listen to. Do you know how many listeners you have?
It changes. I don't know me. This what the viewer right now I have up doesn't allow me to see how many people might be tuning in, because the old style we used to have dead. Let us see how many people are clicking in and watching. But now this one doesn't. It's the special effects stuff we use for the screen and all that. But we used to when we were on Stickam, we used to have. When we fired it up, we didn't know anybody would have anywhere from 5 to 5,000, coming and going. But Stickam folded a few years ago, and it's awfully hard to get the internet traffic we used to have on there. But we've done pretty decent on Ustream, and we're also looking at other places to put streaming video through. So
nice, yeah. We want to stream as well, and we're assuming we're going to stream on our website. But we've been looking at the 360 Live and Apple Music and all that kind of stuff, and they're trying to figure out how to get into those things. I just think it's a natural. We want to appeal to, and maybe we do it through you, but we want to appeal to expatriates across the world. We've got a pocket of folks in New Zealand and the Bahamas, and there's Flint folks everywhere. I know Dane Walling had a group called Flint Club, and that was an attempt to gather expatriated Flint folks into a type of forum where they could be, kept abreast of what was going on at home. And I'd like to continue it. I think it was a wonderful idea.
Yeah, I do too. I mean, it's like I have a friend who is he's an architect and a writer. He lives out in Oakland, California area.
Okay.
And he's published one book I'm aware of, and he's also his part-time job pays him more than most people's 2 full-time jobs would, and he's like really successful. But he has a love for Flint yet. I mean, even he grew up in he went to Ainsworth High School, but
no, we can't hold that against him.
But he still has a fondness for Flint. I mean, his mom and dad is still here. So okay. I mean, but that's there's a lot of people like you. Exactly what you're saying. They still have a love, a special place in their heart for this place. Even by some people's standards, it's not.
Well, let me put out a plea. While I'm here, let me put out a plea for Flint, and I'm only talking to Flint folks. If you're hearing me from somewhere else, Flint or Flint connected people, we need you to call us at 810-259-9789. That's 810-259-9789. If you've got any programming that you want to share with the community, if you're a performer, if maybe you got a studio in the basement, maybe you have your own stable of talent that needs some exposure locally, we'd like to know what you're doing. I'm gearing up for this year's Juneteenth celebration as well through Spectacle Productions and the Juneteenth committee. And we're looking for talent for the Juneteenth stage. So I've got a double need, not only for the radio, but for the Juneteenth celebration, African American Independence Day. Well, this is our 26th year here in the city of Flint, and we're going to do it like we always do on the 17th, 18th, and 19th of June. We're going to have a good old time. I tell people it's the 4th of July for African Americans, and that if you plan on cooking a hot dog or popping a firework on the 4th of July, you need to act a fool on Juneteenth.
And okay, well, anyway, I'm going to say we'll wrap this up, and I'm going to show that commercial again, and so they can hear people what it's all about again. And I thank you very much for your time. I know you're very busy, and good luck with your. We're definitely stay in contact with what we're offering too, and maybe we can get some of our shows on the radio as well. So
not a problem, John. Thanks for having me on your programming. I appreciate it.
And thank you very much.
And remember, Flint's a great place to make better.
That's great. I agree.
Why can't we?
Flint, Michigan.
Why not?
Our voices.
Our voices.
WFOV.
What would happen if we...
WFOV.
How many times have I said...
I've got the solution.
Not everybody's bad.
Why can't we work together?
WFOV.
Our voices. Our voices.
WFOV. You know what the problem is?
I heard a guy on the radio.
There's other
Our
communities.
voices. I like to hear it.
WFOV.
I heard
WFOV.
WFOV.
Our voices.
259-978, Flint's newest radio
Our
station. Located right here in Flint, Michigan. The
Our
Good
voices.
News Radio. If you're interested in getting involved, having your own show, or just supporting the station, give us a call at 259-9789. That's 259-9789. It's Our Voices. Located right here in Flint, Michigan. The Good News Radio. If you're interested in getting involved, having your own show, or just supporting the station, give us a call at 259-9789.